My name is Rich Brown, fellow retiree from Daimler Chrysler at that time, fellow retiree for the past almost 20 years. The timing of this webinar is deliberately early here in the new year after the 2023 addition to our healthcare retirement accounts for those of us on Medicare. This will be a special interest to those of you who have difficulties with claims filing to VIA benefits accounts or who have expected payments here in 2023 but have not yet received them. If you're the latter, it might be because you've not yet enrolled your VIA benefits accounts for direct. I apologize for the grandfather clock in the background. I'll hold for a second. It is now 10 o'clock, although I see about 10:02. If you have been expecting reimbursements from VIA benefits accounts here in 2023 and haven't received them, it may be because you have not enrolled in direct deposit of your payments. Beginning December 1 last year, paper checks were discontinued. The webinar is listed as lasting 2 hours, but the speaker and we do not expect it to last that long. He will take under an hour for his presentation, and we are allowing time for your questions after that. Personal questions that require accessing your accounts, such as claims rejections or personal questions questioning the timing of your particular check or your particular payment, should first be taken through the routine VIA benefit accounts process. General and process and clarification questions can be answered here today. And Dale has explained how to use the question twisty on the upper right-hand side of your page. But that can be done today and they'll be answered. Anything that can't be answered today, we will work a way to get back to you if you leave the question with the insurance committee. Our presenter today is Stephen Durso. Steve is with VIA Benefits Accounts and Willis Towers Watson, the parent of VIA Benefits Accounts and Benefit Connect. He also presented a webinar to us when VIA Benefits Accounts was new to us a little over a year ago. In his role, Steve provides leadership support for implementations and ongoing delivery. Steve has more than 20 years of benefit experience working in multiple roles, including customer service, project management, people management, and client management. His focus over the last 15 years has been on account-based plans, such as ours, including all aspects of HRAs, healthcare savings accounts, HSAs, flexible spending accounts, FSAs, and what is unique to Chrysler FCA Stellantis, the retiree healthcare account. He's dedicated to making things easy for retirees, and he is focused on continuous improvement. VIA Benefits Accounts actually offered to present the seminar to us. We gladly accepted and gladly have Dale working to coordinate the whole thing. Thank you all very much. Steve.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for the intro, and thank you to all of you for having me back this year. Really excited to be here, and you know, the one thing that I want everyone to know today is that I am here to help, and really VIA Benefits Accounts is here to help you as well. So our goal in everything is to try to make it as easy as possible for you to access your funds out of the accounts, and we really want you to be out there enjoying retirement. And with that said, one thing I'm showing you here on the screen is a beautiful picture of Colorado. So I'm showing this intentionally just to share. This was my summer vacation last year, and I flew into Denver. I live in Florida, and we were looking for some adventure. I rented a Jeep Wrangler, and we drove this thing across the entire state of Colorado. We drove it from Denver all the way to the southwest part of Colorado, up mountains, down mountains, four-wheel drive. We went to multiple national parks. And you know, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone on this call for all the contributions you've made in the past. Make things like a Jeep Wrangler possible. And that really helps me to have a great time on vacation and show my family part of the world, and really you didn't just build cars or car parts, you built experiences for people, and I thank you all for that. Along those same lines, we try to do the same thing with Via Benefits accounts. We've built an online portal and a reimbursement process that's really supposed to be an easy experience for you. And along those lines, we're always open to any suggestions that you might have. To prepare for this meeting today, I met with our claims leaders and our customer service managers and just asked them, what are some of the things that we're regularly either having to deny from a claims perspective, or maybe we're getting a lot of calls in the service center about? What are some things that we can share in an event like this to maybe make it easier for you to manage your accounts in the future? So that'll be the goal of my presentation today. So along those lines, as far as the agenda goes, the first thing we're going to go through is how do you get to Via Benefits accounts? And if you've never been there before, I bet most of the people on this call have probably already been there, but if you haven't, I'll show you how to do that as well. We're going to talk about claims. That's something that I know we've already received some questions on, and that's we're the experts on that. So I'd like to just give you some tips and pointers based on some feedback that I received from our claims manager. Rich did mention at the beginning in the intro a little bit about direct deposit as well. So we did move fully to direct deposit, so no more checks, in December of 2022. So if anyone has not received a payment because they have not set up direct deposit, I'm going to show you where that's possible and definitely suggest that you do that when you get a chance. Or if you have a friend who's also a retiree who maybe has not received a payment, you can check with them. It could be this direct deposit thing. And then I'll show you a little bit about where you can request assistance or submit a help ticket. And really all of this is in line of making this easier for you. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to cover is our portal, our online portal, and mobile application login. So if you're familiar with Benefit Connect, which I know you are, there is one link that you can click where you actually don't need to even set up a password or a login with Via Benefits accounts. If you prefer to just go through Benefits, through Benefit Connect, you can link directly over to Via Benefits accounts. So that's one option that you have. And then another option is you can go direct to our portal. So it's viabenefitsaccounts.com. And then in addition to that, we have a Via Benefits Accounts mobile app. And I'm going to show you screenshots of both of those. And then really just to get there first, the first time that you go there, we ask for some additional information just to set up your account. And once you set it up, then in the future, you would just use your email address as your user ID and then the password that you've created. So this really just goes into how you initially set up an account. We try to make it as easy as possible. Okay, here's just a screenshot of what it looks like when you go to viabenefitsaccounts.com. And if you're a returning user, you just enter in your email address and then it will ask you to enter your password. But if you're a brand new user and you've never been to our portal before, you would take this section right here as a new user and create an account. Okay, and then when you're creating an account, we want you to enter your social security number. That is what we have retirees under. And then you'll see the mobile application. So our mobile application is fully featured. And just about everything that you, all right, so continuing with the mobile application, if you go to the Google Play or Apple App Store and search for Via Benefits Accounts, the mobile application will pull up. And the same login that you created on our portal will work on our mobile application. I know nowadays there are a lot of people that actually prefer to use a mobile application to using an online portal. And because of that, we've made our mobile app fully featured, so it can do just about everything that you can do on our online portal as well. So it also makes it much easier if you ever have to send us documentation to just take a picture with your phone and then upload it right there. So I'll show you a little bit more about our mobile application now as well. So if you're on the mobile application, the screens look very similar to what I showed a few minutes ago on the web portal. And you'll see as a new user, you can create an account, or if you're a returning user, you just enter your email here and then it will ask for your password. And then almost the same as before, you can enter your social there and we will be able to find you and start setting up a new account for you. Okay, this is a new one. And this is one that we did not cover last year, but this is one that in talking to our customer service manager, they said this may be something you might be interested in. So we do have a process where if, let's say your spouse is someone who handles everything with your accounts, we can fully talk to your spouse and let your spouse do everything on your account, but we need your permission to be able to do that. So the way that works is we have a form on our portal that can be filled out called a HIPAA authorization form. And that would be you, the account holder, giving authorization to a spouse or another person for us to fully speak on your account and share details. You can get this form either on our portal, or if you just call our call center, they can help you through this process. So that is one that I know we have had some questions in the call center. And it makes sense. I know in some families, spouses handle everything with accounts. So this is something that we offer. And if you're interested, you can go onto our portal under the forms section, or if you call our call center, they can send you the form in the mail as well. This is just a picture of what it looks like. So this is the authorization for release of personal health information, which is related to accounts and any claims or reimbursement requests that you submit. And you can just see you would fill this out and get it back to us. And then at that point, we're able to speak to whoever the participant has designated that we should be able to speak with. Okay, now we're getting to the fun part of this conversation. So we're going to talk a little bit about claims processing. So first of all, we'll talk about the RHCA a little bit. So with the RHCA, you can check the available funds in your RHCA managed by Merrill, which is a Bank of America company, at benefits.ml.com, or you can call them as well. And this is very important. You'll see this little box on the bottom right. We don't display your balance on the Via Benefits portal because we don't have access to that. It is fully held at Merrill, and that's why we give you this little disclaimer. And then very important, because I would definitely say that this is probably the #1 reason why RHCA claims end up getting denied. You must have the requested amount in your Merrill Institutional Money Market II fund, or transfer enough funds into that fund to cover the amount that you're requesting prior to submitting the reimbursement request. And reimbursements from the RHCA are processed weekly. So it is really important that you go in to your account at Merrill and move the funds over before requesting, because what happens is if you submit the claim and the funds are not in that appropriate fund, we're unable to reimburse you and you may have to start the process over. So definitely this is the #1 reminder for everyone under RHCA. Make sure those funds are moved over before you submit your request for reimbursement. This goes a little bit more in detail on the RHCA claims cycle, and it does take a little bit of time because we're working through a couple different parties, and we have to kind of confirm back and forth the balances before we release funds. So what we thought we would do with this slide is just give you an idea of how a typical RHCA claim would work. So if we get a RHCA request and we're able to approve that by a Wednesday, so let's say that's tomorrow, we approve it tomorrow, we would send it the following day to Merrill for them to confirm that there's a balance that's available to reimburse that request. Merrill will send that back to us the following day, and as long as there is enough balance to cover it, then we would send the claim to Merrill for reimbursement the following Monday. That following Thursday, Merrill will confirm the reimbursement, will complete processing on Friday, and then on Monday the claim is paid. So as you can see, there are a number of steps to this process, is why it takes a little bit longer. And that's why we always suggest that you really make sure that the money is available in the fund before you process your claim. And then another pointer that we have is that we do prefer that you submit your claims either electronically on the online portal or through the mobile application, because if you do that, we're actually able to process that almost immediately. Whereas if you put your claim in the mail, it takes that additional timing through the mail for that claim to get to us. And the mail can take anywhere from just a couple of days, or could even take up to a week to get to us. So it can delay your final filing. Whereas if you've put your documentation on our online portal or in the mobile application, that's going to be reviewed within 2 business days, oftentimes even sooner than that. Our claims team has access to it almost immediately to start working on reviewing any documentation and getting those processed. So that's a plug, just to see wherever you can, if you can get them in electronic, that's always going to be better. And I'll show you a little bit more on how to do that on a future slide here. So here you see, how do I submit a claim? And this is our online portal. So there is a Get Reimbursed button on the main page, and that will take you here. And once you're here, it will ask you to enter some information into the different fields. So you would enter the type of claim that you're submitting, so premium. It will ask you for the month for your premium. It'll ask you for the amount. We'll ask you for the provider and the individual serviced. And then it will ask you for supporting documentation. So for supporting documentation, and this is, we try to give you a tip at the point when we're asking you for documentation as well. So have your supporting document ready. And when you submit an online reimbursement request, what we would be looking for a premium request is going to be that coverage period, the premium type, the provider or carrier, the individual service, and then the amount. So that's what we would need in order to reimburse a premium request. So you'll hit continue on that. And then you can see here, it will next take us to the upload file. So when you click on upload file, it makes it very easy for you. You can click on the browse for file. So wherever maybe you took a picture and you have that picture stored on your computer, you can browse and pull it up right here, or you can just drag it through on your computer right on here, and it will upload it into our portal. Okay, once you've updated it, you can see this says Humana here, and that's just a picture of what the document looked like. And now you review and submit, and then you have done what you need to do, and we will take it from there. That was the online portal, and it is very easy to use. But what we've really found more recently is a lot of people are getting more interested in submitting their claims on our mobile application. I think part of that is because it's so easy to just take a picture of whatever your supporting documentation is. So it makes it really easy to get through the request. But you can see on the top left here, that's just the main starting page of our app. And then it looks almost identical to what I just walked you through, where you'll have to enter a few pieces of information here about your claim. And then instead of just picking from your computer's desktop to drag the file over, you can take a quick picture using the camera on your computer, which makes it very easy. And once you take that picture, you'll submit it, and then we have what we need, and we'll get to processing that. So more and more people are starting to use the app. I think in the past couple of months, we've heard that we're now seeing more transactions processed on our app than we are on the online portal. So I think that just proves out a lot of people are on the go and they're looking to submit with their mobile application. Okay, so a couple other things. So what is some supporting documentation, and what are some things that you should just be aware of, things that we can accept in order to pay your premium claim or other types of claims? So first we'll talk premiums. So a premium statement from your insurance company. a Social Security benefit award letter that can often be used for Part B or Part D, notice of Medicare payment due, explanation of benefits are good for out-of-pocket expenses, or itemized receipts, also good for out-of-pocket expenses. And then, for paid premium expenses, you can provide a supporting document that just shows that coverage period, the premium type, provider and carrier, the individual serviced, and the premium amount. As far as proof of payment goes, I'm going to talk about that one specifically. So we only need proof of payment if you're requesting for a future month. So now we're in the month of March, but let's say that you've paid for the entire first half of the year. So you decided that you wanted to pay for the first 6 months of the year, and you're wanting reimbursement on that right now. So if you submit documentation to us with these first 5 things, the coverage period, the premium type, the carrier, the individual serviced, and the amount, I can reimburse you for the first 3 months of this year already, since we're in March. However, if you provide proof of payment to me that you've paid for that full 6 months, we're able to reimburse you the entire amount now. And proof of payment can really just be the front and back of a check. It can be a bank statement that shows the payment made to that carrier. So that's just another tip for you. If you'd like reimbursement of a future dated expense, like for the entire first half of this year, if you provide us with that proof of payment, we're able to just take care of that for you now, and you don't have to wait to be reimbursed until we're in that month. Okay, now I'll show you just a few pictures of documentation. We've blacked out any identifiable information on these, but thought we would just go over some of the things. So you can see this is good supporting documentation because it does have all of the elements that we need in order to process a claim. So this is from Social Security. It's going to have the name. It's going to have the amounts. It has the Medicare Part B amount. It has the Medicare prescription drug amount. So it really has everything that we need in order to reimburse a claim of this type. This is another one that's very common. So this would be an insurance statement from United Healthcare. So this is going to show everything for us. So you can see it has the plan name. It has the patient, the person that this coverage is for. It has the coverage period. It has the monthly amount. So this is another great sample of something where it has everything that we need in order to process a claim. This is, if this alone, if this was all that was submitted to us, this would not be enough for us to process a claim, because this has all of the amounts. So it shows the Social Security, shows the different payment amounts. It even shows the Medicare premiums. However, what's missing on here is it does not say who's covered. So since we're not seeing who this payment was for, we do not know if this was specifically for you, if it was for a spouse, or if it was for another person entirely. So that's why we would request additional documentation in this situation. And this is another one. So if someone just submitted only their checking statement, it's not going to tell us who the payment was for, as well as the coverage period too. However, this one I will say, if you had submitted, let's say that you had first submitted this statement here. So it has everything that we need. It shows all of the details. But then let's say that you wanted to be reimbursed for a future dated premium. You could submit this plus your proof of payment. So where this particular statement is not enough on its own, this statement would be helpful if you need to provide proof of payment. That's one thing to keep in mind. And then lastly, I think this is the last example for this type of premium. So in this scenario, the person requested for the month of January 2023 to December 2023. However, we don't have the proof of payment. So what we're able to do, this claim was submitted in the month of February. So we're able to reimburse January and February while the future months are actually denied because we did not receive that proof of payment. Then next, we'll kind of shift over to out-of-pocket healthcare expenses. So for out-of-pocket healthcare expenses, we do need documentation. It's slightly different though. So we're going to need that date of service, which could be the date you purchased it, the expense category, the provider or carrier, the individual it was purchased for, and then the amount. So this gives you a good idea of an out-of-pocket, looks like a hospital expense that has all the things that we need. So it has who the provider was, it has the patient name, it has the date of service, it has the description and a service code, and it has the amount. So that is a good quality document. Then you'll see here again, someone just submitted a checking account statement. So it is missing the service date, and we really can't tell who it was for and what service was even rendered. We just have the location that it was used at and the amount. So we're really missing just about everything else. Okay, next question might come up. So where can you find a list of eligible expenses? And the easiest way to do that is if you go onto our online portal on the HRA tab, there's a link for viewing the eligible expenses. And we have a comprehensive eligible expense list. I think when I get to the end of this presentation, I'm going to just display it so that you can see it. But we try to map out as many possible expenses as that you might encounter to make it easy for you to see what is eligible and what may not be eligible. Okay, so this next one has come up with as an issue in some mailed or fax claims to us using the claim form. So we're actually exploring now whether we may want to make some edits to that claim form going forward, but I thought I'd talk about this first. So what this is really talking about is when you're submitting a request for the healthcare retirement account and RHCA, but you have to decide which account you wish to be paid. We can't make that decision for you. So I'm going to show you that on our online portal and then what it actually looks like on the form, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So you also have the ability to select HRA then RHCA, so that's an option as well. And again, if you submit a claim manually on our claims form and you don't tell us how you want it to be paid, we're unable to process the claim, and a new claim would need to be submitted. So when you're going through the reimbursement process on our online portal, you're going to see the account payment order. So after you enter all of your details, it's going to ask you where you want to pay it from. So you can select HRA only, RHCA only, or HRA then RHCA. Okay, and the next thing I was going to talk about was, what is your claim status for the HRA? So when your reimbursements are paid, we're going to notify you and make an explanation of payment available online. And then that's going to appear as via benefits in your direct deposit account. If any part of your request was denied, we're going to provide you an explanation of unpaid expenses via email or mail, depending on your notification preferences. You may need to take action. If it was denied, to maybe provide us additional documents so we can approve your request. And then if you submit it and you don't have a sufficient balance in your HRA, we'll pay as much of the reimbursement request as possible. And then we would pend the rest of that. So I'll show you what that looks like in a moment here as well. So if you have submitted for, let's say you only had $500 left in your HRA and you submitted $1,000 of expenses, we're able to pay you $500 now, and then the other $500 would pend until you had additional funds added to your account, which is typically the January timeframe. Okay, and here on this page, you're going to see a RHCA claim. So this is just a quick example of what it looks like when the payment is awaiting funds. So this is someone who has a RHCA claim. Okay, and this here you can kind of see you can download all of your activity from the past. I know some people like to do that. And then this kind of goes back to the pending approved claims that we talked about a couple slides ago. So this is someone who submitted a reimbursement request for the HRA,
I don't know.
approved. However, they no longer have funds left in their account in order to be
On the
reimbursed.
table.
All right. So for pending approved claims, generally what will happen is you don't need to even stop submitting claims to us. You can keep submitting requests and we'll kind of build those up as pending claims. And then in January, when a new annual contribution is posted to your account, we will look to pay those out all at once. And we just say the payment for pending approved claims will be made by the middle of January, but in reality, it might be even sooner than that. So that once the funding is added in the first few days of the year, then we process those pretty quickly. So at the latest, you'd get your payment in mid-January for that. Okay, this was another tip I received from our claims manager. So I thought I'd talk about this one a little bit more. So we have had some experience where we've had people submit duplicate claims, and there's a number of reasons why that might happen. So the first one is not necessarily a duplicate claim situation, but that could be what we just talked about, where maybe your balance is exhausted, we've approved a claim and we penned it due to lack of balance, and that's okay. There's no issues there. However, the other ones actually can cause us some issues. So one would be if auto pay is on for Medicare Part B, so that Medicare Part B reimbursement is coming through automatically on a monthly basis, but then you go ahead and also submit for reimbursement for Part B either on our online portal, mobile application, or on a paper claim form. We would deny the second request as a duplicate. So we would always ask you not to do that. If you're going to have the automatic reimbursement monthly for Part B, don't also submit that as a reimbursement request. Another one that we've seen, it doesn't happen too often, but I think sometimes it can happen, is that if a claim is currently still in processing and then you resubmit it before the processing is completed, I will say that is not going to get your claim processed any quicker, and it actually may make it a little more challenging for our processors because they have to realize that it's a duplicate, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult on us. So the best advice is when you first submit a claim, give it a few days to be processed. We do work very quickly, especially if you're submitting it in an electronic format, either online or on the mobile application. I almost always see those things acted upon within just a couple of days. So it's very quick, but we ask that you don't resubmit the same claim multiple times, because that can make it more complicated or more confusing for us. And then the same thing goes if you're mailing or faxing in the claim form for your request. We ask that you only do that once versus multiple times, because if we have multiple claims for the same request, we have to deny one as duplicate, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult for us. Okay, next we're going to talk a little bit about the HRA auto pay function. So your account includes, excuse me, the handy health plan auto pay feature, where we will automatically process Medicare Part B premium reimbursement request and then deposit that in your direct deposit account. So this is optional for you. So let's say that you prefer not to receive this. You'd rather be someone who just submits reimbursement requests on your own time. Maybe you'd prefer to receive them all towards the end of the year, or you just want a little bit more control on your requests. You don't want us to automatically pay you monthly. You can do that. If you come out to our portal and you easily click on this slider button under Health Plan Auto Pay, we can turn it off for you. But of course, one thing to keep in mind is that if we turn that off, from that point forward, you would then have to submit any Medicare Part B premium reimbursement requests, and we could take care of that for you if you submit it, but we would no longer pay it for you automatically. You can come back to our portal at any time and turn it back on, but if you turn it back on, we're not going to pay you past Part B reimbursements. We'll just add you to the next monthly run of the Part B reimbursement process, and we'll turn you back onto the automated path. So it's very easy to do this, and just go onto our online portal and you can make that selection. So this just shows you a kind of another picture of it and like a little bit of a pointer. It's going to tell you that if this feature's turned off, you can have your premium reimbursements paid from your accounts by submitting an online reimbursement request. So it's just going to tell you that. And then if you ever want to change it, you'd come back over to where that says off and click it. It will turn it back on for you. Okay, and the next tip here is how to find the claim form. So a couple things about this are, first of all, if you do go to our online portal, our suggestion is going to be that you submit the claim online as well. Since you're already on the portal, if you go to the dashboard and just hit get reimbursed, or also on the HRA tab, we're able to just take that request right there. But I do realize that some people do prefer to have their have the paper form, and that's okay. You can certainly use the paper form as well, and you can request it right here. If you don't have access, you can call, and our service center can help you as well. Okay, this is what I was referring to a little bit earlier in the presentation. You can see that when you submit a paper form, we ask that you make the selection on the payment account. So you can elect HRA only, RHCA only, or HRA then RHCA. So, and it's very important that you just select one of those options, because we have had some situations where people maybe make some mistakes and maybe they select more than one option, and that makes it very challenging for us to process. So we're unable to process those. If you select, let's say you selected HRA only and RHCA only, we don't know what your intention was. So we would have to deny that request and ask you to resubmit. And then also, if you were to submit your request, but then you don't select any account for us to pay from, we also cannot process the request. We cannot guess for you. So we really need you to actually make the selection. And then here's an example that I talked about earlier where someone has selected both HRA only and RHCA only. So that is not something that we're able to process because we can't guess between those two. Okay, on this slide, you will just see this is where you would send paper form requests. And then you can see there's some disclaimers on here that will just tell you a little bit more about how the plan works, and talks a little bit more about RHCA as well. And you can mail or fax, but again, like we talked about, it's going to be quicker if you go to viabenefitsaccounts.com or on the mobile application to get those requests in. They'll be processed much sooner. All right, so direct deposit. We'll talk a little bit more about this one. So Rich mentioned it in the intro, but we did move to 100% direct deposit in December of 2022. So there's multiple reasons for that. I know when we send out direct deposits, that money's just going to get to you a lot faster, and you don't have to worry about going to the bank and cashing your check. And then alternatively, there's not a lot of people who maybe have uncashed checks and are not getting their funds. So for all of those reasons, through our partnership, direct deposit is the better way to go. So we've made that the reimbursement method as of December of 2022. Now, what happens if someone did not set up direct deposit, still have not set up direct deposit, but we're trying to pay them? So a few things here. If that happens, you'll see right in the middle of this screen, it's going to say bank account required. So we have processed this request, but we're unable to pay it out because we don't have direct deposit information on file. So a message will come up saying reimbursement request must be processed through direct deposit to your designated bank account. So no bank account's been added, and it will ask you to add that bank account so that we can get this payment out to you. Along with the things that I talked about before, if you set up direct deposit, it reduces the risk of identity theft. No one can steal your check. You're not going to lose the check. It can't be stolen. It's definitely faster than waiting for those paper checks, and you never have to travel to your bank to deposit it. So for all of those reasons, direct deposit is the way to go. And again, I think I mentioned it maybe at the top of this meeting as well, but for all of you who are actively engaged with your accounts, I can tell that because you're joining us today and you're listening into the conversation. I expect you all have your direct deposit set up, but if you know anyone who maybe doesn't, let them know this is how it works. We need to get this direct deposit in place in order to pay out these plans. And then if anyone has any questions about that or has any problems with that, you can call our call center and they would be able to help you. So this is just another way to say it. So while it's important to set up your direct deposit information as soon as possible, one other thing I'd mention is it can be done on the mobile application too. So it's very easy to do. There's multiple different places you can do it. We also have a direct deposit form that you can fill out if you prefer to use a paper form. We actually mailed one to everyone towards the end of last year. And then if anyone needs another one of those, they can call our call center and we can easily get that out so that we can get direct deposit set up, and then we'll get these payments processing quickly. Okay, and this is just a view of the payment direct deposit set up on the portal. Gives you a little idea of where you can find your routing and bank account number. And then, to end this presentation, as far as requesting assistance, we are here to help you. Like I said at the beginning, we really try to do whatever we can to make reimbursements easy for you so you can enjoy your retirement. So if anything comes up, there's a couple different ways that you can reach out for any questions that you might have. So we have Benefit Connect available for you. So if you had any questions related to HRA funding or eligibility, including account coverage start dates, Benefit Connect can help you. We have the number right there. But if you're submitting claims or you have any questions about claims, Via Benefits Accounts can help you out. So one pointer that we've added here is if you're looking for information about your claims, we do not want you to go to myviabenefits.com/FCA. And also maybe you don't want to Google Via Benefits, as that might take you to our enrollment site. So Via Benefits also has an enrollment function with Medicare policies, but that's different from your claims reimbursement. So always look for this viabenefitsaccounts.com to get to our portal in order to handle any requests about your claims. Then we have a phone number for you as well. So our representatives are available from 8 in the morning until 7 Eastern time. And the number's there. And then I know there's also some people that prefer maybe to have an electronic way to talk to our service center. And we have help tickets available on our portal in order to allow you to do that. So you can go directly on our portal and submit a help request where you can type in your question, and then we will have someone on our team type a response to you. So that's another way where we're able to support you if maybe you prefer an electronic exchange with someone versus picking up the phone and calling our call center. Then this just shows you a little bit on our portal. In the bottom right-hand corner, it'll say open help ticket, and that's how you can reach us electronically. So with that, I was also going to just give you a quick view of what the eligible expense list looks like. Okay, so you'll see this is for the healthcare retirement account, the HRA, and the way this is the eligible expense list that you would find on our online portal. And we try to outline as many of the different types of expenses that are possible. So some of them are going to be over the counter. You'll see that there are some expenses in here that may require a letter of medical necessity. So that would typically be like a prescription from your doctor. and that is per IRS guidelines. What we call things like that, there can be things that are dual purpose items. So things that may support general health, or they may also treat a medical condition. And for them to be eligible under the HRA, you may need a prescription just so that we know it's to treat a medical condition. Now, if you ever have questions and maybe you're thinking about an eligible expense that is not on our list, or something, maybe it's on the list, but you have questions on how to submit it, we have multiple avenues available to help you out, where you can either call our call center, they can walk you through it, or you can go onto our online portal, you can look, you can submit a help ticket request for support. We're really here to help you. And with that being said, I think that does end the content portion of my presentation. And maybe I could take some calls as well.
Hello,
Hello.
I have a question. On my long-term health care for long-term, if I go into a nursing home, how do I get the receipt paid? I can bring up the amount that I pay every month, but I don't have the paid part of it.
Hold on just one moment here. Yep, so you can see here, we do show that long-term care premiums are eligible, as well as long-term care services.
Okay.
So I would say you can submit the document that you have that you get. And then that is the type of question that if you had additional questions, I might actually have to look at your document. So I'd suggest you probably call our call center and they can help you.
Okay, but basically, I probably don't need a paid in full kind of thing.
Yes, so if you're requesting full payment, that does make sense.
Yeah, okay, real good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Please go through questions that you can answer that are in the chat, and if there are ones there that you cannot, tell people how they can proceed to get their answer, Steve.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so this is talking about timing, or actually there's two questions on here. So maybe on the left, it's asking me, when you buy scripted meds through an online provider and submit a claim based on online statements, which are provided to VIA, why does VIA reject them? And this is another one where I'd have to actually look at that statement. And if you refer back into the presentation on the things that we need in order to process a claim, that will kind of show you of the different elements. But if I were able to look at the actual document, I could provide you more support. So what I would probably suggest in that case is to upload the document. And then if it was rejected for any reason, either our call center or through submitting a help ticket should be able to tell you the very specific reason, and then can help you with what might be needed to get that paid.
Would the most expedient be to call the call center, Steve?
Yeah, they can call the call center, and especially if they've already submitted the request and it's been rejected and they're not understanding why it was rejected, I think our call center is the best option for that. On this next question, so last 3 withdrawals from RHCA. So when I went over the timeline of RHCA before, you could see that it can take about a couple weeks. And your experience here is showing that. We'd really prefer to be closer to 7 days, like you show. 16 is certainly a little bit long. Based on the way the current process is, I don't think 24 hours is achievable, but I can say that we're constantly looking to see if there's any way that we can improve processes. For now, I know it is taking anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks for RHCA reimbursement requests based on how the process works, but that is one that we will we'll take back again, and we'll consistently look to see how we can make that faster.
If I can add, that's based on a weekly interface with Merrill.
Right.
So once a week you interface and you hear back whether the funds are in the money market, the institutional account too. And based on that weekly cycle, that's why it can be as short as a week or as long as 2 weeks, depending on the timing that the claim is filed.
Correct. Right, and then again, I know I said it before, but make sure you have money in the fund before you make the request. That's one way you can make sure that it goes through quicker. And then if it can be submitted online or on our mobile application, it will also speed things up. And they're looking for the phone number for the Merrill Fund. I think we had that on an earlier slide.
800-483-SAVE.
Okay, and on this one, just a question about being able to access the presentation. You certainly will be able to.
We at the NCRO, we will have it posted shortly after this. Get it posted to the home page, both the video presentation, including the Q&As, and the visual, the slides.
And so on this question, can auto pay for the Medicare Part B be switched to RHCA? And the answer to that is no. It cannot. It's just the way that the RHCA plan works is a little bit different, where we have to engage with Merrill to get those paid out. So the auto pay is for the healthcare retirement account. Okay, and IRMA is reimbursable. That looks like more of a statement than a question, but I would agree with it. Okay, and this one, it's actually viabenefitsaccounts.com. So the same login that you use for our portal, which is viabenefitsaccounts.com, can be used on the mobile application. Actually, can you move it a little bit to the right and I'd be able to see? That's good, yeah. So this question is, you're covered under husband's insurance as a retiree of FCA. Can you get reimbursement? That one, I'm not sure how to answer. I think I'd need to look at your account. So that would be one where you might want to call the Via Benefits Account Service Center and we could help you out.
Steve, I would, if I is Rich Brown, to the extent that there are still uncovered services or out-of-pocket expenses, even under your husband's hourly plan, they can be reimbursed to you, just showing evidence that you had that expense out of pocket and it was not covered by the insurance. That's intended to be a generic answer to it without being specific as to the expense that might be in question.
Right. That is true. Thank you. Okay, if you don't use the annual amount, it does roll over. So you don't lose it.
And you're referring to the HRA in that case?
The healthcare retirement account, yes.
And the RHCA, the retiree healthcare account, or RHCA, is an actual fund that is yours or your beneficiaries at Merrill.
Right. And then this is the last one was, is there a time limit for reimbursement? So that, and the answer is there's not a submission deadline. So you can continue to submit claims from the past. They just had to be after your account was established.
Steve, can you cover for a minute on the death of one spouse, for example, or on the death of a retiree? I believe that there is a time limit for submitting claims on behalf of the person who's passed away.
Well, that's a good question. Rich, I think that's a 12-month time limit.
That's what we have understood also, but I would defer to you.
Right.
12 months. Right.
Yeah, so that is one case where there actually is a time limit. And 12 months is a good amount of time, but we'd ask that you get any of those requests in within 12 months of the passing of a retiree.
And unused HRA funds, even after that 12 months, they are I'll use the word lost. They don't carry over beyond that. So all the more reason for anybody with a large HRA balance to work on submitting claims to get back your money.
Right. Yep, then Rich, like we talked about before, even if you don't have a current balance, you can still submit claims that we could approve now and pay out in January when the next annual allocation is made too.
Yes. Yep.
And if you prefer to use paper submission, you can get the form on our online portal. And we showed you that in this presentation. But if you're not able to get to our online portal, you can call and our service center can send you one as well.
And on the NCRO website, under health care and via benefits, that form is there to be clicked on and linked to and printed off if you want to.
Excellent. So if you pay a premium monthly, do you have to manually submit each payment, or is there another option? So a couple ways to answer this one is that if you want monthly reimbursement, you would have to submit each one, or if you prefer, you could wait and you could submit like a quarter at a time. So if you submit 3 months at a time, let's say we're in March and you've yet to submit for 2023, you could submit for January, February, March right now, and we would pay you that all at once. But in our current process, and we're always looking to improve for the future, this would have to be submitted with each individual request. And this talks about Medicare premiums paid monthly. Is the amount automatically adjusted each year when changed by the government? I think the answer to that is yes. So like the Part B reimbursement amount changed from 2022 to 2023, and we made that update. And Rich, I'm not an expert on this one. I'm not sure I can answer this specific one about how the different funds work at Merrill.
I'm not the expert either. I know Merrill freezes monies from the institutional money market to, they do that for those under 65 who are maybe are having their healthcare premiums paid by that fund.
Right.
Or for those over 65, Merrill freeze it. I'm not the expert. I guess if that person would submit their question to, if they haven't been able to get an answer from Merrill, submit it to the insurance committee at inscom at ncro.org and give us some specifics. We'd be glad to research that answer and get back. I'll repeat for the attendees that are on there, the email address to take questions to the insurance committee is inscom@ncro.org. Short for insurance committee at NCRO. Thank you, Dale.
Okay, I think we already got this one. So in this question, is money left in the account? Will it be available to beneficiaries? And I think this is going to depend on which type of account we're talking about. So the RHCA account is an account that you would have beneficiaries where there would be funds available after your passing. I'm not an expert on the beneficiary process with the RHCA, but I know that that is definitely something that you want to have a beneficiary for, and then if you pass, there is a benefit.
I believe that the Benefit Connect site has beneficiaries, and about to go in the newsletter from the NCRO is how to keep them up to date. And the Benefit Connect beneficiaries link is good for both the retiree healthcare account and for any optional group life insurance that somebody might have. So I think the answer on the beneficiary, I'm quite sure the answer for the beneficiary on the retiree healthcare account is that it is in the Benefit Connect realm and on its website. More to come in the newsletter coming out in a matter of a week or so.
It's very timely for this question.
I think that's it. Oops, wait a minute. Okay, the slides will be available online if you go to ncro.org, and the video of today's presentation should be there in a couple days.
And we'll put them on the home page as well as on a page that you can link to under healthcare and going to via benefits accounts.
Okay, I
If
think
it's
with
me,
that,
I can thank everybody who did attend through your morning. If you're on the West Coast, maybe your early morning. But thank you all who registered and those of you who attended. Steve, thank you tremendously on behalf of the NCRO and our members for doing this. I know we had questions earlier about, gee, I can't make the seminar, the webinar. How do I get it? So we know that we'll have hits on our website once we post it.
Yeah, great. Thank you guys for having me. It's been my pleasure, and I hope to come back sometime.
Keep renting the Jeeps, or you can buy one and just drive it out to Colorado and enjoy it all the more.
Awesome.
Maybe you already have one. I didn't mean to imply you didn't.